Hello everyone and welcome back to Winter Interludes. We just have a couple of quick updates before we jump into some book reviews. To start off, we'd like to remind you that you have a bit better than a week in both the adult and teen reading challenges on Beanstack, so get as many books and pages in as you can between now and the end of January. For the next couple of days, we're also going to be including these Family Literacy Day booklets into curbside pickup packages for families. And Family Literacy Day takes place on January 27th every year. This year's theme is travel, which I think we're all missing a little bit, but it'll help get you thinking about some places you'd like to go in the future. We've also highlighted a few of our resources which might be helpful completing these activities, or even some online schooling. We'd specifically like to highlight Mango Languages, which can be helpful learning phrases in a new language. There's A to Z World Food, which can be helpful when learning about international cuisine. And then World Book Student is going to be helpful learning about the different countries that you may want to travel to, and also could be very helpful when you're doing some online learning. Now that we've got the business out of the way, Rose, what have you been reading this week?
Thanks, Jade, for the update. The book that I want to discuss this week is Autumn by Ali Smith. It's part of a quartet, and you guessed it, winter, spring, summer to follow. It's a complex read, mesmerizing in the way it shifts time intensely. It's multi-layered. Again, that floating time sequence. It's about aging, identity, and friendship. Now, at some point, the author throws in references to Brexit and then the Christine Keeler Perfumo scandal. However, I'm not sure those are as relevant unless it's in the context of all the passing seasons. However, you do need to focus on the main story, which involves Elizabeth, an art history lecturer, and David Gluck, a former next-door neighbor. Now, the 100-year-old Daniel is in a nursing home, and his is the interesting part because he fades in and out of consciousness. That also informs us about the feedback and the dreams that gives the background for the relationship between Elizabeth and Daniel, which started when she was quite a young girl. Since their earliest friendship, he introduced her to art, to critical thinking, and notably also to a female artist, one of the only really famous pop artists in Britain, Pauline Bodie. And he seems to have had a relationship with her. It never really fleshes that out, but with all the allusions and references to some of her work. And I guess it does hit back a little bit at the scandal because one of her pieces of art is called The Scandal. So back to that Christine Keeler Perfumo scandal. I think what I really like most about the book is the language, the wordplay, the intricacies, the references to the literary references throughout, and the time shifting in Daniel's subconscious between the present, where we see Elizabeth, and the past, which he brings forward in flashbacks that reveal some of their background. The opening chapter is slightly confusing, and it's important that you persevere and get past that. That first chapter has a lot of vivid visual imagery conjured by the language, the leaves falling and as they blend around Daniel's body as he's lying there. But it depicts him lying in another place, in another time. And again, it adds to the complex nature and the mesmerizing aspect of this novel.
That sounds like a really great read, Rose. For this week for you guys, I have Alone in the Wild by Kelly Armstrong, which is the 5th book in the Rockton series. And let me tell you, this time it starts off with a bang. Casey and Dalton are camping in the Yukon forest. When Dalton's off doing what he needs to do in the forest, Casey's alone at the campsite. She hears a pretty strange noise and goes to investigate. Casey finds an infant tucked into the jacket of a dead woman who is buried under the snow. Of course, they race back to Rockton, determine that the child's okay, and then upon a little more investigation, they figure out that this child does not belong to this woman. So they have to find this infant's parents. While doing so, they encounter some hostiles, some of whom try to capture and sell Casey to the highest bidder, a few settlers who drive a hard bargain for information, and then they keep encountering this one lone wolf who tries to befriend their dog Storm. I'd say this one stands alone, Alone in the Wild, and it's a 5-star read from this series. And I'm thrilled to have finished it just in time for the next book to be released next month.
Thank you for joining us again today, and we hope that you've enjoyed the summaries of 2 of the books that we've read in the past week. I challenge you to read one of Ali Smith's novels and let me know how you liked it. And we do look forward to seeing you again next week.